What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. We're going to finish previewing and predicting the Power 5 championship games as Champ Week is here. We did 2 yesterday. We're doing 3 more today, and we're starting out with the one that's going to take place in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Louisville Cardinals and the Florida State Seminoles are the 2 teams that will represent the ACC. One of them will walk away with an ACC championship, and for one of these teams, a shot to assert yourself as a bona fide top 4 team in the race for the college football playoff. We're going to dive on into everything Cardinals and Seminoles here in just a minute, but before we do that, I got to say thank you for all the love and support the channel has seen as of late. It does mean a lot to me, and well, if you guys want to help show support for the channel, pretty much anything you do to interact with it helps to support it. Liking, commenting, sharing, the 2 biggest ways obviously are hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell, but also just simply by watching this video, you guys are helping me to support this channel. It does mean a lot to me, whatever you guys are willing and or able to do to help support the channel, again, means the world to me. We just passed 1,700 subscribers. The channel has grown really, really well. I couldn't be happier. Thank you guys so much. But with all of that out of the way, let's talk about Champ Week here. Louisville and Florida State from Charlotte, North Carolina. This should be a very entertaining contest to watch here from again, Charlotte. But let's go ahead and dive on into the stats that both these teams have put up so far this season. We are going to start with the designated road team, and that's the second place team in the ACC, the Louisville Cardinals. They are coming off of a heartbreaker to the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky was able to outplay them and spoil the hopes, spoil the college football playoff hopes for this Louisville team. Now, Louisville is going to look to turn that narrative around fully and be able to ruin the college football playoff hopes of Florida State Seminole, of the Florida State Seminoles. Taking a look at the offense that Louisville has put up, I mean, overall, just what a job Jeff Brohm has done with this team in his first year, his alma mater coming back. He's done phenomenally well as the head coach of this team, and it starts with the offense. He brought in a quarterback that was very familiar to him, or I should say a quarterback that was very familiar with Jeff Brohm, and that was Jack Plummer, formerly under Jeff Brohm at Purdue, had a year under his belt at Cal, came back into the Jeff Brohm system, and he's been playing really, really well. 2,952 yards, 66% completion percentage, 21 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Now, the 11 interceptions is a problem, yes. However, he's really cleaned those up as the season has come down the wire here, and he's got a lot of good weapons to work with, most notably Jamari Thrash, Coleman, Higgins, Bruce, Bell, that are out there in the wide receiver room, but the running back stable is really, really good as well. Jawar Jordan has been nursing an injury, talk more about that later, but he's a 1,000-yard rusher this year with 13 touchdowns. He runs really, really well, but Isaac Garendo, it's been a lot more of him as of late, and he's still running really well. He's averaging 6.1 yards per carry, does have 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. The rush game, just as much as Jack Plummer's ability to be able to throw it down the field, is going to affect the way the Florida State prepares for this game defensively, and you take a look at that second-hand column. Really, everything could be improved in that second-hand column. You could be a little bit better on third downs. Of course, the interception bug with Jack Plummer has resurfaced a little bit, but compared to the way that he was playing earlier on in the season, it is definitely backed off. And then this offensive line, for the most part, does a pretty good job, but they do leak some pass rushers through here and there. 22 sacks allowed on the season. Let's move over to the defensive end for the Louisville Cardinals, and this is the end that I have been more impressed with Louisville. I knew Louisville had all these playmakers, and the offense was going to end up finding some sort of really, really good rhythm this season. However, I've been thoroughly impressed with the way that this defense has been able to play, specifically at being able to force the turnovers. 19 turnovers forced on the season. That's a really, really good number. Now, the pass rush is not as prevalent as it was last season when Louisville had the best pass rush in America, and it wasn't great early on, but it's really started to find itself and be very, very effective as of late. In fact, Ashton Gillott, 11 sacks on the season. He is by far the leading pass rusher for this Louisville Cardinals team. That's also really, really good on third down. Now, the defensive front does not just do a great job at being able to get through to the quarterback. It does a great job at plugging the run gaps as well. Only 96.8 rushing yards allowed per game. They're one of the better rush defenses in the entire country. Life is going to be really hard for this Florida State offense to be able to move, especially because their leader in Jordan Travis is out with injury. 2,755 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. That was his stat line on the season. There was all these things of, hey, maybe this was a guy that could have competed for the Heisman Trophy. Instead, now it's Tate Rodemaker's team. And he did not play bad against Florida, did not throw a pick, did not turn the football over. However, it definitely was not his best performance. It was not as much of a game-managing performance as Florida State would have liked to have seen, I believe, from Tate Rodemaker. But on the season, he's 32 of 56, 510 yards, 5 touchdowns. Again, no picks. And again, those of you that aren't so great with math, that's a completion percentage of 57%. But what Tate Rodemaker does have is one of the best group of skill position players in the entire country. Trey Benson and Lawrence Toafili in the running back room are very, very good. Benson may not be a 1,000-yard rusher, but does have 14 rushing touchdowns on the season and is very, very capable of ripping off some big runs. And then he has one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country and probably the tallest wide receiver room in the country. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jaheim Bell, Ja'Kai Douglas, Kyle Morlock, just and then even Benson and Toafili out of the backfield can be reliable pass-catching options as well. There are a ton of great, very, very talented wide receivers on this team that Tate Rodemaker has to work with here. They're a pretty solid team on third down. Again, they don't turn the football over. Tate Rodemaker has not thrown a pick this year, 2 interceptions from Jordan Travis, and then 3 fumbles. That's it. That is all that Florida State has done to turn the football over here, and then 20 sacks allowed. Sure, the offensive line could do a little bit of a better job there, but Tate Rodemaker is not going to be the game breaker that Jordan Travis is, right? Tate Rodemaker is going to be the guy that is going to manage the game, is going to manage the clock, and do everything you need him to do to not lose you the game. Tate Rodemaker is very, very good at that, and he should be much better at that now that he has a full game of experience under his belt, especially in a tough environment on the road there in the swamp against the Florida Gators. Defensively for this Florida State team, it's all about verse. Jared Verse, that is. Well, it's also about their versatility. They can throw a ton of different looks at you. They can pass rush from anywhere. The defensive line especially is really, really good. Guys with at least 3 sacks on that defensive line. The aforementioned Jared Verse, Patrick Payton, Braden Fisk, and then Joshua Farmer there as well. All of them have at least 3 sacks. Kalen DeLoach is a very versatile playmaker on the defensive end as well. This is a very, very good secondary, only 175 passing yards allowed per game. 63. That's the number of passes defended that Florida State has this year. I don't have the official metrics in front of me, but that should be one of the leaders across the entire country. They force turnovers. They're really good on third down. Oh, and they get pressure back to the quarterback, as I've mentioned already throughout here. The rush defense can be a little spotty, and that's something that definitely can hurt them against the Louisville team that loves to run the ball, which leads me into my what to watch for keys to the game. It's some things that I think you should keep an eye on when you are watching this game. Now, we're going to start with the designated road team that is the Louisville Cardinals. How effective can Jawar Jordan be? Again, as I spoke about earlier, he is nursing an injury. I believe it is a hamstring injury. Louisville fans, you can correct me in the comment section below if that happens to not be the case, but I believe it is a hamstring injury. And with how spotty this Florida State run defense can be, Isaac Guerrero is going to have his moments, but Jawar Jordan is the more explosive running back in that room. I think Louisville expects him to play in this game, but how effective can he be? He's obviously probably more likely than not going to be at 100%. So Jawar Jordan, A, being ready to go is going to be key, and B, being as effective as he normally can be is going to be even is going to have an even greater effect on this game, again, especially with how spotty the Florida State run defense can be. The interception bug cannot show up for Jack Plummer here. It started to resurface a little bit in that game against Kentucky. It cannot happen here. This is a Florida State secondary that is too good. Again, you heard the number, 63 pass defended. Didn't even mention they have 9 picks on the season there as well, and one of those got ran back for a pick 6 by Jarian Jones, who leads the team with 3 picks there on the season. But this is a really, really good secondary. They're aggressive. They bat down balls. And it's not just the secondary as well. The defensive line, really, really good at batting balls down at the line of scrimmage as well. They're really big. They're really physical. They're really versatile in that way. The interception bug can't show up. Jack Plummer's got to make great, smart decisions. He's got playmakers out there, especially an explosive one in Jamari Thrash, who can beat these Florida State secondary players down the field. Jack Plummer just cannot throw picks. Now, defensively, this is an FSU offense that even though Tate Rodemaker is at quarterback, they will not turn the football over themselves. They will not make a whole lot of mistakes. Louisville would be very lucky if Florida State made a mistake with a turnover, so you have to force the issue. Jump the routes, punch the football out, win the turnover battle. That's going to be something that's crucial for Louisville in order to win this game. Now, moving on to the designated home team, the Florida State Seminoles. Rodemaker faces the Cardinals again. He faced them last season when Jordan Travis went down with an injury during the game, and Rodemaker was able to lead the team to victory. But this time, when you compare it from this year to last year, I believe he has a lot more weapons to be able to work with here. And I've mentioned a ton of the names here, but Johnny Wilson, he took over. He took over this game last season. He did. Johnny Wilson, the 6'7", yes, I believe 6'7" wide receiver, took over this game, ended up catching the game-winning touchdown pass for Florida State last season. Johnny Wilson's going to be a big part in this game, but so is the leading receiver, Keon Coleman. 11 touchdowns on the season. Johnny Wilson only has 2. Johnny Wilson's probably going to get in the end zone here, but Keon Coleman's going to be very, very effective. You got a lot of great running backs there that you can rely on to be able to get you some yards and make Rodemaker have to be able to throw some shorter routes to be able to manage the game more effectively. That's what Rodemaker's going to do. He's going to try to manage this game, and I think he's going to do it really, really well because of all the weapons that he does have. You got to be able to create havoc in the backfield. This is a pass rush that is really, really good, and they are going to get to Jack Plummer at least 2 times, I believe, here in this game. But creating havoc in the backfield is a lot more than just being able to pressure the quarterback and bring him down. It's also being able to stop the run, which is something that I'm very curious to watch here with this Florida State Seminole defense. Their run defense, as you saw the numbers and as I've talked about, has been pretty spotty so far this year. And this is a very explosive, very effective Cardinal run game. So how much havoc can you create in the backfield? How many negative plays can you create? Can you force Jack Plummer to have to throw the ball against this secondary on 3rd down and longs? That's something that is going to be really crucial for Florida State to have to force. But because Rodemaker is at quarterback, because you don't have the more explosive option under center for quarterback, you need ball control, which is, again, Rodemaker cannot get flustered. This is by far going to be the biggest game of his career. He can't get flustered. He can't turn the football over. But again, part of being a game manager is also being able to control the tempo, control the clock, be able to help your team move the ball effectively down the field. That is going to help Florida State a lot here in this game. The line is a lot closer than a lot of you may expect. It is because, again, the Jordan Travis injury definitely helps the issue on why the line is as small as it is. Now, couple things that I expect to happen here in this game. I do think Louisville are going to have some really good moments offensively, and I think that pass rush is going to come alive more so than it has in any other game that we have had or that we have seen Louisville play so far this year. I believe that pass rush is going to get back. They're going to fluster Tate Rodemaker, and much like what happened in the Seminoles last game against the Florida Gators, I believe that Louisville is going to get out to a hot start. I believe Louisville may take a 7-3, 10-3, maybe even 14-3 lead, 13-3, something like that, and they're going to end up getting the jump on this Seminoles group. But what I don't think is going to happen is I don't think it's going to last. I think eventually Rodemaker's going to find his groove. I think eventually this secondary for Florida State's going to step up. This defensive line for Florida State is going to step up. They're going to force the issue. They're going to bring Jack Plummer down. They're going to start creating some negative plays in the run game as well. And I think Rodemaker manages a very, very good game, maybe a turnover or 2, but I think Florida State forces the extra turnover that's going to either seal the game or help a game-winning drive that I think Rodemaker is good enough to be able to manage. I got the Florida State Seminoles winning the ACC championship game, and with that, they will be moving on to play in the college football playoff. This should be a very exciting one from Charlotte. Please tell me how you see the game in the comment section down below. And hey, as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.